Oh, well, hello everybody. It is I, Claude Bowles, reporting to you straight after the Proverbs guy, much vaunted debate and discussion with Mr. Kent Hovind. And of course, this was to follow the much vaunted peace accord where we were going to have a new era and not say nasty things and all that sort of thing. It was all going to be nice. And of course, promptly, the law was laid down before the show by Stephen. Fair enough. I think Lupin might have tried to get a shot in, and then Achilleas had a real go as well. And yes, I refer to him by that name now. I think it's a very appropriate name, even though I originally misspoke it. But Achilleas, very appropriate term for this particular person. So the debate starts okay, or the discussion, and of course, Hovind ignores the questions, doesn't give a straight answer, and from Mark Reed. And at one stage, in the chat on the panel was Donny. And even though he's not a moderator, jumps in immediately to try and take the pressure off Hovind and on his side. So he is not a biased, I think of anything now we know for absolutely certain. I've always maintained it, but he is not an independent moderator. He's extremely biased and will always help out his mate, Hovind. So then I get to ask question, and it's about the other day when Grayson was on. Grayson gave very good reasons why different layers of the earth are different ages, and Hovind sort of had to fudge an answer to that, and he wasn't quite prepared, and he would do more research and come back. So I asked him to do that today. He didn't say anything different whatsoever, so he hadn't got his ducks in a row, so Grayson's good arguments still, of course, stand. And then I was permitted to ask him. I wasn't in very long, and I was really trying to get it going for Grayson to answer, but I thought it was a valid point. Mr. Hovind claimed to have taught earth science for 15 years, so I thought it was fair enough to say, well, Mr. Hovind, you've introduced this topic, you taught earth science for 15 years. What were your qualifications to teach earth science? I was halfway through it and bang, I got blocked. Because it seems to me that they're very afraid of this man who calls himself a doctor. They're very afraid when someone asks a question about what that sort of means and what his actual science qualifications are. So now I'm convinced more than ever that he is just a complete fake. And then, of course, so after that, I thought I might try and get back in again, and I wasn't permitted to. And then eventually I was blocked from the chat after I pointed out that Achilles had insulted Mark Reed, and he did insult him. And yet we were meant to, Mark was doing nothing wrong. This is meant to be a new era. There's no insults. In fact, the so-called moderators of the channel chucked in things all the time that showed that they were biased, and it was really actually quite terrible. So then Achilles blocks me with some reference to 24 hours. Okay, because he loves to show what a big man he is and all this power. I don't call him a man, I call him a creature, which should fit in with his creationist views, but it was just disgusting. So as far as I'm concerned, the so-called peace accord, whatever, is just a joke. It's just an absolute joke. And he even warned another very good guy, Christian Pike, and he said, Achilles says, calling us liars and you will only see this channel with binoculars in the future, at Christian Pike. Well, what a horror. I mean, I could go on, and I will have a chance to do that, but I thought I had to get on straight away and point out this was clearly one of the most biased things I've ever seen in my life, and I was not permitted to ask further questions. I see Mark is in the chat, which is good, and Mark says I was denied entry, and even after being promised a question, my question was never presented. Clear Hovind bias. And Mark says he was very disappointed, and I'll have to say I was too. I don't think I was being outrageous. This man, Kent Hovind, claimed, that he has this special knowledge about earth science. We were discussing the age of the layers, okay? And I think it's fair enough that he introduced the topic of him teaching it. What is wrong? Why are they so scared when I ask a very simple question? What was your qualifications to teach earth science? Now, I'm sure they would be up to scratch, surely, wouldn't they? Or is this a way of saying that he actually has no qualifications or expertise in earth science? Maybe that truth hurts sometimes. So, yeah. And then to have this Achilles to come on and lay down the law and all over the chat. Now, I think there are one or two people in the panel who did also have wrenches who were quite embarrassed by this, and those would include maybe even Shanna, and who's that other? There's another lady in there as well. Awake, not awoke, but of course by that stage I'd been blocked from asking explanations from her. I did see one or two other people, independent-minded and probably very intelligent people in the chat, try and ask her questions, and then they seem to drop off too. So I can only presume that Achilles is such a tiny little man that he has to block all this in. And of course, we saw the carry on the Proverbs Guys show maybe a week or so ago, where the women were trying to speak and he just talked over them because according to him, they're just women. They're just nowhere near what he is. So yeah, I won't go on, because tonight I know it's very late for you over in the United States, and so probably we won't get a very big discussion going. But let's look forward to it in another venue. Tyrannothorium has just come on. Hello, I can even pronounce your name. Hello, Tyrannotherium.
Hello, Clyde. It's 12:30 where I'm from.
Yeah.
Well, 12:39.
Yes. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be for a little short bit. Yeah, Proverbs guy. Yeah, he's a rat think.
Well, I think so now. I was prepared to give the benefit of the doubt. I honestly did. I thought, and I was warned about this by different people. Oh, no, and really, I can see he was only doing it for views. Well, the most I saw was 15 at any one time, anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I saw in the 30s. They had quite a few views in that show.
Oh my goodness, who's this?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who let this riff-raff in?
Well, thank you. We'll call you Mark II. And
whoa, now come on. He is my elder, so I'll take the junior.
Wait, are you acting?
Acting?
Yeah, are you voice acting?
No. Wait, do I have my voice mod on? I'm sorry. Let me close that.
So I appreciate you coming on Tyrannotherium, even though have you followed the Hovind thing for a while? Yeah.
I've been making a lot of Kent Hovind rant videos for the past 3 years or 4 years or whatever. Ever since the pandemic came, like I was making like a shit ton of Hovind videos.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since I made more some Hovind videos because I focus a lot of paleontology and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just that like I don't like when Ken Hovind's a dick to like I don't know Atheist Junior or Mark Stoney or all these other like people like.
Yes, especially when this is meant to be the new way, and I was very disappointed also in this standing for whatever he stands for, truth.
Yeah, same truth.
He came in, he knew he was going to have a chance later. This was for so-called atheists and others, or questions about evolution. Now or evolution versus creation, and this guy came on and interrupted the Mark Reed thing, and I told him be quiet and so I probably didn't get off to a very good start. But I thought time to be assertive,
There was this other fella who's very disrespectful, and he's a hothead. I think his name is Justin
Dustin,
or
probably, yes.
Dustin. Dustin. Yeah, he's great. Very
Yeah. Mark, you are there at the moment. Are you speaking okay now? Is your voice come back to you, Mark?
Yeah. What I don't understand is that why is Prophet's guy used to be on Sydney's side, but now he ass worships Kent?
Well, and you know what happened? Did you catch up with what happened a couple of days ago?
No.
Okay, so they had a thing, peace talks, and they got Father Charles on, and this is about a day ago. That's all, a day or two at the most, and everybody's going to be nice to each other. We're not going to call names and blah 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 blah. And at the beginning of the show, they lay down the law, and the very people who called names and were nasty were their own people, and we can prove it. We have copies.
Hey,
of
I
what
think
they
I got
said.
my mic working.
Oh, good. Yes, I can hear you. This
Hello,
is Mark.
hello.
Tyrannotherium. Here's Mark. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, that whole show was kind of disgraceful. I was promised to get one question in, so long as it didn't have anything to do with the external drama. My question was very pointed at evolution creation. Had nothing to do with anything else, and I was promised that question would get through, and it never did.
Hmm.
That was very disheartening. I was really hopeful for. I mean, and who cares about the question? The question is, whatever. Kent Hovind's
Well,
whatever.
it wasn't that bad a question. What is, especially you, I mean, you loosely believe, well, you are probably more on the side of creation than evolution.
Oh, I'm a creationist.
Yes, so
through
you're
and
sort of
through.
on their side, and you still get blocked.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, my questions don't fit their narrative.
No, I don't know why. Hello, Big Bad Mama. Good to see you.
Hi, good to see you guys.
Yeah, hey, Big Bad Mama.
Yes, I just felt I had to get a few things
All
off
right,
my chest.
who is it in the corner?
Tyrannotherium.
Oh, Tyrannotherium. Good to see you.
Yeah.
The names aren't out there, so.
Oh, right. I'll get the comment off, and that way, there we go. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago, I made a rant video on Proverbs Guy. I don't know if you guys saw that.
What's the name under? What's it? What can we find it under?
It's on Ethereum.
All right. Okay.
Give me a second. I'm trying to go on my laptop. I'm on my phone.
Oh, we can search that later. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
That debate was a joke.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was, and it was the same old. I thought, I'll ask you, Big Ben Mum, for independent. You can contradict me if I'm wrong, because I always, I'm not too up on these science things. But I wanted to ask. I felt that the other day, Grayson made some good points about the age of the layers, rather, to Kent Hovind, and I wanted to get Kent to address that, and he didn't address it at all. He went into a rant, and then. Did I remember correctly that it was Kent that brought up that he had taught earth science for 15 years? So I naturally said, well, what was qualifications to teach it? It's fair enough, isn't it?
Yes.
And then immediately, I was halfway through that. I don't know if even people heard the question, went, bang. All right.
It actually
Okay.
got cut off at the very end. It was like they were ready for you or something.
Yeah.
But
And
Hey, Big Bad Mama.
yeah.
I just wanted to point out that Tyrannotherium's been making Hovind videos longer than both of us combined.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
So he's in the know.
Really,
Tyrannotherium knows his stuff.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I make more rant videos of Kent than all of you guys. By the way, here's the video. Well, I'm not going to show you the video, but here's like the video if you want to see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's Proverbs Guy rant that I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've just
Definitely check that
subscribed
out.
to
What
your
was that
channel.
based on, Tyrannotherium? What was the Proverbs video that prompted you to make that video? Do you remember?
I just decided to make a rant video on Proverbs Guy because he's kind of a bit of a rat think, because like he's a sneak, because like he picks on what's his name? Uh who, who's
Gangster
yeah,
Ghost.
Gangster Ghost?
yeah,
Logan.
yeah, I'm really
Well,
sorry.
we're
That's
trying to
true.
make that water under the bridge. Like that's been a pretty concerted effort on both sides, but
Well, it
maybe
was.
that can be water under the bridge, but
But he also like made
tonight was so disingenuous and just I'm
His true
cringing.
colors showed through tonight.
Yeah.
And the facade was, the veil was lifted. And you saw who the real person was again. And it's pretty much the same guy that we knew from a week ago.
Yeah. Oh, here's Gangster. I mean, I felt, and then, when they give a lecture of what was acceptable, before they barely even finished that, people were, I think, Ghost, you're echoing. I think before it even finished it, there were people in the chat, some of them their own moderators, making nasty comments, Just
Right. I got
yeah.
booted at the end. Achilles booted me.
Here was my issue. I was told yesterday that I was going to be able to ask a question, and I thought long and hard about this question because I was told specifically it couldn't have anything to do with the drama. It only had to do with evolution, creation, and I'm a creationist. I'm a Christian. I believe in creatio ex nihilo, and I wanted to be able to present a question that could challenge Kant and not only his thoughts on evolution, but also how the Bible describes the creation of the earth. But yeah, that was very much gate kept. My question did not get through to any of the panelists, and I was in the backstage pretty much the whole show. And there was a few days ago when I think it was Steven that said there were only like 2 people that weren't going to be allowed to be in the panel, and I kind of assumed it was me, but that really played out tonight because I wanted to get my question through, and I was trying to be respectful, and I think it's an important question. Big Bad Mama, I sent it to you. It's like it wasn't provoking or provocative in the sense that it's going to bring up drama. It was just I don't want to say run of the mill question because it's something I've been wanting to present to Hovind for a long time, but
But Mark, I mean, don't we know that Proverbs is trying to shelter Hovind from you in general?
Right,
it had
that's
nothing
the
to
thing,
do with your
though.
question.
Yeah, but I even said in the chat, it's like, look, I don't even have to go on the panel. If somebody wants to just present my question, that's fine. You don't even have to put my name to it. But even in the face of having Lupin say, yeah, I'm going to give him your question, and multiple people acknowledging my question in the chat, it never made it through. And I just felt kind of betrayed, lied to, disrespected because and who cares? It's a question. What's a question? But it's the fact that I was told I was going to be given that opportunity,
Yeah.
and especially in the light of all this reconciliation, and I'm holding air quotes right now, that we've been having going on. Like I thought this would be a really good opportunity to open some lines of communication to really be able to lay out some of the things that we really want to say to Kent. And the creation evolution debate is great, but there's some other things that need to be spoken of too. But like, how do we even get our foot in the door if the gatekeepers are being so hard?
Problem is with Kent is that he repeats the topic over and over and over again, like it's outdated or whatever.
Right. He has a script and he runs the clock out every time, and he just keeps saying the same thing over and over again, and so he limits the amount of questions that are asked. And he even has, a bunch of other supporters on there that are taking up the time too. So the time is really limited for people to get in questions.
Well, he wouldn't give a straight answer.
Especially in the heat of debate, when there's a lot of going back and forth. I get that. You're not going to just throw in a random question, but there were plenty of opportunities and breaks in that discussion and the flow of that whole stream to have presented some questions from the audience. And I know mine wasn't the only one that was gate kept. I know that Christian had questions he wanted to ask.
I didn't get a question asked.
It's just sad that that
well, Achilleas
it's presented as a creation versus evolutionist debate, but ultimately it's a Hovind supporter versus Hovind critic. Let's let all the Hovind supporters talk and shut up all the critics. Even when we come in good faith with the intention of discussing the creation evolution stuff, because that's where my head was at. I wanted that question. I wanted it to be presented. I wanted it to invoke some discussion and really get some thoughts out there. But like it was just kept,
Why don't you try to ask it again on his show, the next show that he has?
Yeah. See, I could have done that earlier today because I was in. Hovind did his normal live stream before going over to Steven's channel. And I had the opportunity. I could have asked the question. I don't know if it would have gotten to him, but I'm not blocked over there, so they're letting me comment. I was able to talk to at least Missing Mod in the chat over there.
Yeah, I was over there. I think
you too.
He asked my question. I don't even remember what it was.
And the thing is, he knows you. He knows you're his biggest critic. One of his biggest critics out there. And like I used to be a trustee for him, and he won't even acknowledge me anymore. It's like he gives more time to his critics than people who actually used to support him.
I'm just an anonymous person to him, though, whereas you're like a real person to him.
Yeah,
and so it's he's got more barriers to you than he does to me.
For sure.
What happened to Logan?
He might have dropped off because, he did try. I heard a bit of a saying something and then it suddenly cut out. So, not sure. He can come back on though. Or maybe that it's very late at night.
I would like to just to say hi to him.
Like it's 12:55, but I'm still here. I'm not working tomorrow. I remember I was watching your video, Big Bad Mama, and Kent finally knew your real name. Well, not like your real name, but like when you were Creationist Crybaby.
Yeah, he figured it out.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hi, Ghost.
What?
Did you enjoy that?
Hi.
Hi, Logan.
So,
Hi, boy.
I wonder if Kent blocked you still.
No, he's still taking my questions after that. So
really?
He likes you. He really does.
Yeah, but there's a little bit of an edge to it now that wasn't there before. But yeah, you're right. He's still taking my questions. So he does like me to a certain extent. Logan, how are you doing?
Okay. Did you have fun?
At the debate, at Kent's debate?
Yeah.
I got booted, so I didn't really have too much fun. I mean, I got to. Achilleas said that he was going to sleep, and I told him not to fall off the edge of the earth tonight, and that's what got me.
Boy, Achilleas had his finger on the band trigger, didn't he?
Right.
Gosh, he was booting people left and right.
Yeah,
he had like 10 comments after that about me. That I was just a troll, which he's right. I mean.
Well,
in
I've
that
kept
case.
the screenshot, in the comments when I complained to Stephen that Achilles had been very rude to Mark Reed and then was threatening everybody else. And then he says, "Oh, well, Achilles is my friend." So it's clearly one rule for his friends and so-called moderators and a different rule for everybody else. And I think that's disgusting. So as far as this peace accord, well, I'm afraid for me it's ended. He proved himself to be the person that I always suspected, but I was prepared to give it a go. And I gave it a go. I didn't ask anything. I wasn't going to ask about Kent's multiple marriages. I wasn't going to ask about his fake PhDs. That was all left alone.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I was coming to this, because, with all the peace accords in our mind, we're trying not to bring up all the drama, which, I mean, is kind of the elephant in the room. I don't think anybody here knows or doesn't know what we're talking about when we talk about the drama, but I really did want to get my foot in the door and be able to ask a question, and it was sincerely a evolution creation question. It had nothing to do with anything besides that, and it was just gatekept, and that
It was
just
totally
goes to show
legit.
me
Yeah.
that just goes to show the disingenuous nature of these promises and these accords, supposedly. I think there was some good that came out of it. Gangster Ghost got his apology, which was spectacular. That was really good. But as far as, being real with everybody, we're not there. And gosh, it's really disappointing, because I was hoping for something. I really was.
What were you hoping for exactly? I mean, what was your...
Just the BS to stop. Like, I think we can all agree, like, when things are said that are just beyond the pale, especially considering, or in the context of the Kent Hovind saga, the continuing drama. It's, I mean, I don't even know. It's just
Well, there's
come
gonna
to the
be drama
truth. Open your
everywhere.
eyes. Realize that there are issues. And that being said, yes, there's issues. I think everybody agrees. Even the courts agree. Kent was found guilty of domestic abuse. But these issues are there. It's not like we're bringing him out of nowhere just to disparage his ministry, so-called. But the reality is, there are concerns and they need to be addressed, and they're just being ignored. And the people that have the concerns are being labeled as crazy and being brushed aside, and people are eating it up. Like, it's the ultimate case of poisoning the well so that Kent Hovind can just go on and say whatever he wants.
Talk to you guys later. I just want to stop in to say hi.
Okay, night, Logan.
It's getting late for you, isn't it,
Good
Gangster?
to see you.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Are you doing anything when you're doing?
Sleep well, my friend.
Are you doing anything in the morning, Gangster? Are you doing any show tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll do.
Yeah.
Tomorrow at noon?
Yeah.
Cool.
See you guys then.
See you, bro.
See you then, Logan.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah. What I don't understand is that even if the drama's over for Kent, he's still gonna go on with this drama. He won't shut up. That's the problem.
It's not over.
Yeah, but even if it's, I don't know, he'll still bring up. And even Crawford's guy too, I heard. He's still gonna bring drama crap.
I'm just wondering what the timing of this peace accord. I mean, what was the timing with Stump leaving, then Father Charles and was doing 7-hour streams, and all this stuff happened kind of at once, and then Proverbs wanted peace after that. I mean, was that the timing?
Yeah. I think that's a pretty vague representation of it, but yeah, generally speaking, that's pretty much how it went down.
I mean, what was
I
his
can't help
ultimate
but
goal
think
then?
views.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, was he advertising for the Hovind show, and that was part of his so-called peace accord?
I don't know. I really don't, and I don't want to extrapolate what I've seen to what I think, because that's not fair. But what I did see was a very concerted effort, at least on the non Kent Hovind side, to accept these peace accords, to make these amends, and to accept these apologies. But it was so vague and ambiguous the whole time. It's like, well, okay, you've said all these very specific things, these very intentional uh, offenses, and none of them are getting addressed except for one, and I think that was the most important one in our little community. But nothing else was getting addressed. So I'm just sitting here wondering, like, what was the point of that? Why after weeks of trying to get Logan isolated, whether it be on our streams or in private chats or just whatever, why going after him, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, well now Kent Hovind's here, who cares? I don't know. It's been a really weird week or a couple of weeks, and it's really hard to wrap my mind around what else been going on.
Did you
It's just
hear when
I don't like it.
Stephen came on Claude's show and we talked to Stephen about Cindy and stuff?
No,
Oh, you didn't see that?
no, I didn't.
It was last night, wasn't it, Claude? Or
Yeah.
Or maybe I
Yes.
did. There's just
I
been
think
so
you did.
much
You
on
might
so
have,
many
yeah.
different channels.
Yeah, and we accepted them at face value, at that stage. I think we did, and that's the way we've been. What's happened in return? It's just crazy.
well, we kind of pushed for. He said that he'd made an apology to Cindy through Faithful, and I think we said basically, well, you need to apologize to her in person because she's, you disparaged her in public. So I don't think we said he needs a
Well,
public.
Steven also said that Cindy wouldn't accept his apology.
Right.
But
well,
I mean,
he said she blocked him and he had no way to get through to her, which I don't believe.
He never
that.
spoke to her. So how can not speaking to somebody be translated into they didn't accept my apology?
Kent's a sneak. He's not going to apologize.
Well, we're talking about
I'm talking
Bolin.
about Proverbs guy.
Oh, yeah. Proverbs guy. Oh.
Proverbs guy spread the story about Cindy that she had made poison cookies for Kent to, basically murder him. And then she had a hole already for him that somebody had dug. And he went on the air, and so did Brett Keane, with these accusations. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong here. And basically slandered her, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
That's just
well, not just that, but also accusing her of being a witch and all that. The run-of-the-mill stuff. And I hate to say that calling somebody a witch is run-of-the-mill, but that's what's become of these Proverbs guys. Like, that's their go-to attack. You're a witch. You're a demon.
Right.
And son of Satan. It's like, come on, guys. Get in the real world.
Well, he's ass worshipping Kent like crazy. Even though he was on Sydney's side, now he's on Kent's side, which is stupid.
Well, yeah. I have a little bit of insight to that drama. Cindy had hired Steven to help construct one of her cabins on her property, which she was going to rent out for like a residence or whatever, rental properties. And the construction work that Steven and his partner did was so terrible. She wanted an 8-foot ceiling. They only gave her a 6-foot ceiling. And nothing was level, nothing was plumb, square, and she didn't like it. She was not satisfied with the work, and they basically didn't want to fix it, and made her out to be the bad person because she wasn't happy with her work. And then it was like almost immediately Bolin was over with Hovind, and he was talking about Hovind getting money to go see his kids, and then there was this whole deal about let's sell this car and make some money for the ministry. It was just a whole lot of stuff. Like, I think Bolin was going to buy one of the cars. Was that the
The
deal?
Honda Sham,
Yeah,
the Honda
Honda.
Con, $6,000 for a used Honda, and Bolin
like
wanted
20 years
money from
old.
people. Yeah, Bolin wanted money from people, and then all the money he said was going to go to CESE. And I think he was able to raise like $500, and of course, nobody ever got their donation back or whatever because he didn't get that car.
No.
So he conned people out of $500 is what it looks like.
At its face value, that certainly is what it seems like. If that's what his GoFundMe or whatever collected, he doesn't have the car. That certainly seems like he conned some folks.
Yep. Yes. So I see that. I took some screenshots of some of the things. And here's the quote from when I call out Achilles for being rude to Mark Reed. Was Mark Reed rude at any stage to Achilles or Kent? The answer would be no. Would that be right?
Yeah,
right.
I didn't think it was being rude.
No. So Proverbs guy, Achilles is a host, SR editor, and a personal friend. Mark is a guest that can be very rude. Got it, Claude? Well, so in other words, if you can be very rude, but you're not very rude, then Achilles, because he's a mate of Proverbs guy, has the right to be given insult to Mark. It's just a disgrace. I hope Mark doesn't bother going on again, because they need Mark more than he needs them.
Of course. Yeah. Grayson, too.
Yeah. And then I see Achilles is having a go at Sea Science Film Labs. I don't mind that so much because Sea Science Film Labs.
Sea Science Film Labs, and I just want to put this out there. I am not the biggest fan of Missing Maud. I'm really not.
She's in the show.
We have our differences, we do.
Yes. Yeah.
But in the private chat in the backstage of Bolin's room, Sea Science Film Labs, and I'm quoting, he was talking to Lupin, he says, "Where's my wrench so this whore doesn't have power over me? Missing Maud is a repressive bitch."
He said that today?
Yeah, that was in the backstage. I'm reading it from a screenshot I took of this.
Wow.
This backstage
kept that
comment section. What the hell? Like,
that's horrible.
It really is. It really is. Like, and like I said, I'm not trying to like white knight for Missing Maud here, but why would you say something about that about a lady just because she's got moderator status when you don't? That's beyond anything. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the joke there too is Achilles then says, "Sea Science Film Labs, I like you, and you know it, but you deserve previous time."
So he can go on and say stuff like that using actual profanities and disparaging a person, but publicly, we love you. You're great.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll have to make your previous time out longer. Whereas me, I'm out. I'm out for 24 hours. I don't really care now.
So am I.
They've bought this argument, and it's clear to any independent and fair-minded person that they behaved appallingly, and so that's bad news. So no,
I mean that's inexcusable. Sorry, Carl.
Yeah, totally inexcusable.
Yeah. Awake Not Awoke says, "Oh, looks as though the peace accord might not last very long." Yeah, and I couldn't.
You know what? What? We tried.
Yeah, we did.
Honestly, I gave a good faith effort. I really, really did try to police our team, whatever you want to call it. There's been some things where I've had to step in on both sides and say, hey, this is not in accord with the things we've spoken about. And, like, come on. Where is this coming from? Where is this deterioration coming from? It's not from us. I've been honest. I've been forthcoming. I've been, very accepting of their terms, even though I don't really like being hamstringed going into a discussion, telling me I can't talk about certain things. But fine, okay, yeah, these are beginning stages of negotiations, whatever you want to call it. But at the first opportunity of demonstrating, the genuineness of the other side's willingness to move forward with the stuff, they totally spit in our face. And it wasn't just me. It was Big Bad Mama got banned. You got banned, Claude. Mark Reed was treated absolutely disgracefully.
Yeah.
And
you should have seen the comments.
I'm a creationist. I am full on in the creationist worldview. Yeah. That's me. And I'm not ashamed of it. But what I am ashamed of are these assholes that want to turn this into personal things and then just. I'm sorry. It's just beyond me. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't appreciate it. It's disrespectful, and the people on the other side really need to come to terms with reality and understanding that maybe they're not always right.
Right. I mean, that's a horrible thing to say about Missing Mod. I mean, that's just classless of sea science. He just has no class whatsoever.
He's very similar to many of the people on that panel.
Let me say something real quick though. Something needs to be done on these channels about people who threaten violence against other people, and
I agree.
I think those are the worst, worse than sea science. And when a friend of mine gets his life threatened by somebody, not just once but twice, a couple friends of mine, Missing Mod's my friend, Missing Mod's my friend, and Aiden is my friend.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
When that happens, I think that there should be instant blocking of that person for at least an extended time period, because there's no place for that.
I agree. There's no place for it. I'm not even gonna try to qualify that because I know exactly what you're talking about, and I agree with everything you're saying. There's no place for it.
And Charles needs to, think about that. If he's, I'm thinking about his channel too, not just about the friends of mine who are getting threatened, but I'm also thinking about his channel. And I just can't stand. It's just bad.
Did you? I've got a screenshot here of Achilleas saying to awake, not awoke. Did you hear a priest saying F Lupin today on their stream, or did you miss that? Does anybody know anything about that? What that's about?
I you know what? Actually, I think he did say something about I don't want to use profanity, but F you.
He said I don't want to use profanity, but F Lupin.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Because Lupin chucks that word around with impunity. Yeah.
He didn't say. First of all, he didn't say the word, and so what's the problem?
Okay. Exactly. Especially when on Lupin's very show, that word is used left, right, and center.
Lupin told me in the private chat that he would get my question to Kent. Right there at the end, it was Dustin's question. Whoever said, these are the final questions, he was taking it directly from the private chat because we were having this whole discussion. I had my question, Dustin had his question, Big Bad Mama had his question. Oh, I'm sorry, not Big Bad Mama, but Christian had his question, and these were all supposed to be presented to Ken at the end. Well, Lupin goes through, or not Lupin, but Steven. He goes through who had the questions, and he comes to my name. He sees my name, Mark Stoney, and he's like pausing. And he's like, "Oh, Mark Reed has another question for you too." And it's like, dude, you promised you would get my question through. And it's like, who cares about the question? It's a question. Whatever. It can be answered later. It can be not answered. It can be ignored. It's the fact that I was promised a certain thing, and in light of all the reconciliation efforts, to break a promise this early, like, that's not good faith at all.
Another complete joke was that when the Proverbs guy implied it was 4 people against Hovind, might have been 3 or 4.
It's his show.
But the other thing was, it's Hovind plus Donnie plus Stephen plus Achilles plus Awake Network plus Shana plus all their moderators. You should have seen things some of their moderators said about Mark Reed in the typed comments. It's just a disgrace. But anyway, look, we might knock it off now so people can sleep. And I believe Gangster Ghost or Father Charles will have a show in the morning. We can talk there. But you know, my being nice, I tell you what, until I receive an apology for this disgusting way I was treated and others on the stream, I don't believe anything that these guys say. And we have it in black and white what this Achilles got up to, and the things he said about Mark, and he banned me for nothing, for drawing attention to it. So
I don't want to
as
sound
far
like
as
a
I'm
pessimist.
concerned,
I never believe those guys.
Yeah. I'd really like an explanation for last night, although I don't think it's going to change my mind. I think that what was done was just distasteful, a total slap in the face to everything we've been trying to accomplish. And I don't want to feel that way. I really don't. You know, I'd like to have peace among our communities or whatever, but I just cannot see that happening so long as you've got just this air of disingenuous going around, like promise one thing, deliver another, and of course the disparaging comments in not only the public chat but the private chat among some of the people in these different camps. It's just disgusting.
So
it's the personalities. I mean, there's just some personalities over there that are they're just hard to get along with, and I don't foresee myself getting along with some of those people ever.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Look in the chat. Missing mod in there. Thanks, Claude and BBM. Love you both. Like, I don't care what you think about me or what you say about me, but it's this kind of mentality. Like, you're intentionally disparaging me, and for what? Like, you think you're slick? You think you're smart? Just stop it. And it's this attitude, it's this missing mod attitude, it's this Stephen Bolin attitude, it's this Hovindite attitude. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it's a Hovindite attitude, and Sea Science is a Hovindite. Of course, Bolin is probably the biggest Hovindite of them all. Dustin is a Hovindite. All those guys are Hovindites.
Achilleas is a Hovindite.
Right. Oh, he's the biggest, probably. Yeah.
Dan is a Hovindite. I've had enough of his nonsense too. So, yeah. Les gants sont lavés, which means the gloves are off in French. Yeah. Les gants sont lavés.
The gloves. You've been holding back up till now, Claude.
Oh yes, I have. You wait till you see the new Claude. You haven't seen nothing yet. As they say, I could be in a Hollywood movie. You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Okay.
I'll say this. I'm going to try to play nice with everybody, but I am very upset about tonight.
I'll be nice, but I'll be, shall we say, incisive. And when I see a weakness and something that I regard as silly, I will actually say it. I'm not going to hold back and be nice like I've always been. Okay. Good night, everybody. I recommend Gangster Go
Good
Show
night.
tomorrow. Bye. Bye.